Fear is a universal human experience, yet its triggers can often seem enigmatic. One particularly perplexing and widespread fear is that of clowns, or coulrophobia. Despite their intended role as figures of joy and humour, clowns often evoke a deep-seated dread in many individuals. The fear of clowns is also deeply rooted in their physical appearance. The heavy makeup, exaggerated facial expressions, and oversized costumes obscure the true emotions and intentions of the person beneath. Humans rely heavily on facial cues to interpret the feelings and intentions of others. When these cues are masked or distorted, it creates a sense of ambiguity and mistrust. This inability to read a clown's true emotions can be profoundly unsettling, making people wary and fearful. A University of Sheffield study of more than 250 children aged 4 to 16 found the images were widely disliked. The report was for a study on hospital design and suggested the children found clown motifs frightening and unknowable. A key psychological theory that sheds light on the fear of clowns is the uncanny valley effect. This concept posits that when a figure closely resembles a human, but is slightly off, it induces feelings of eeriness and discomfort. Clowns, with their exaggerated facial features, oversized shoes, and brightly coloured outfits, occupy this unsettling space. Their almost but not quite human appearance can trigger an instinctual sense of unease, leading to fear and aversion. Early negative encounters with clowns can also play a significant role in developing a lifelong fear. A frightening experience at a birthday party, circus, or other events can leave a lasting impression on a young mind. Children are particularly sensitive to unfamiliar and exaggerated stimuli, and a startling encounter with a clown can imprint a deep-seated fear that persists into adulthood. Cultural representations of clowns vary widely, with some traditions portraying clowns as tricksters or even malevolent beings. Historical depictions of court jesters and harlequins often included elements of mischief and unpredictability. These cultural narratives contribute to a broader societal wariness of clowns, embedding the notion of clowns as figures of potential threat within the collective consciousness. The origins of clowns can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where performers played a crucial role in rituals, ceremonies, and entertainment. The earliest known clowns have been found in the 5th dynasty of Egypt, around 2400 BC. The Egyptian court jester were African pygmies known as dangas, who were kept in royal courts to amuse the pharaohs and royal families. They dressed in leopard skins and strange masks, and danced and imitated the Egyptian gods, such as Bes. Images of Bes depict him as joyous, somewhat comical figure, often with exaggerated features, embodying both humour and protection. Bes was more than just a source of amusement. He was believed to have the power to frighten away malevolent spirits with his grotesque and exaggerated appearance. This dual role of humour and protection is a hallmark of the early clown figure, providing both laughter and a sense of safety to those who believed in his powers. Similarly, in ancient Greece and Rome, comedic actors known as mimes and fools performed in theatrical productions. The concept of clowns in ancient Greece is closely tied to the world of theatre, particularly the genre of old comedy, which flourished in the 5th century BC. One of the most prominent playwrights of this era, Aristophanes, created works that featured stock characters and comedic archetypes resembling clowns. These characters were integral to the comedic narratives, using humour to address contemporary, social, political, and cultural issues. In Greek theatre, comedic actors often employed exaggerated gestures, masks, and costumes to enhance their performances. The use of masks with grotesque features allowed these actors to transcend individual identity, becoming larger-than-life figures that could comment on the human condition. These masks often depicted exaggerated expressions, much like the makeup of modern clowns, creating a sense of absurdity and humour. The Romans inherited and adapted many aspects of Greek theatre, including the tradition of comedic performance. Roman comedy, exemplified by playwrights like Plautus and Terence, featured characters and scenarios that would later influence the development of clowning in Western culture. Roman mimes and pantomime also played a crucial role in the evolution of clowning. These theatrical forms emphasized physical comedy and exaggerated movements, often with minimal dialogue. Mimes performed bawdy and risque skits that parodied everyday life, employing humor to highlight the absurdities and vices of Roman society. The physicality and expressiveness of mime performances are direct antecedents of the physical comedy seen in clowning today. The Middle Ages in Europe saw the emergence of clowns as significant figures in both courtly and public entertainment. These clowns, often referred to as jesters or fools, played vital roles in medieval society, offering not only amusement but also social commentary and, at times, performing important political functions. The development of clowns during this period laid the groundwork for many of the characteristics and traditions associated with modern clowning. The most iconic figure of medieval clowning is the court jester. Jesters were employed by royalty and nobility to entertain guests, provide levity during serious occasions, and serve as companions to their patrons. Unlike other entertainers, jesters often enjoyed a unique position of privilege, allowing them to speak and act with a level of freedom not afforded to others in the court. This freedom enabled jesters to comment on courtly life and politics in ways that could be both humorous and insightful. Jesters were easily recognizable by their distinctive attire. They typically wore brightly colored costumes adorned with patterns, bells, and often a motley or multicolored design. A cap with bells, known as a fool's cap, was a common accessory, along with a scepter or bauble, a mock staff often decorated with a carved head. These visual elements were designed to be both striking and humorous, emphasizing the jester's role as a figure of amusement. Several historical jesters have become legendary for their influence and wit. One notable example is Will Sommers, the jester of King Henry VIII of England. Sommers was known for his cleverness and ability to temper the king's volatile moods with humor, earning a place of trust and affection in the court. Similarly, the French jester Triboulet served King Francis I and was renowned for his sharp wit and daring humour, often walking a fine line between jest and offence. Clowns have also been linked to the trickster. The trickster character has been a pervasive and enduring presence in the mythologies, folklore, and literary traditions of cultures around the world. Characterized by cunning, deceit, and a propensity for breaking rules, the trickster embodies a complex archetype that challenges social norms, provokes thought, and often brings about change through their antics. Characters such as Loki from Norse mythology or the Joker from the Batman franchise embody the trickster's characteristics. As a figure that embodies both disruption and creativity, the trickster challenges norms and catalyzes change, making it a central and dynamic force in human storytelling and cultural expression. Today, we're going to look at some examples of clowns in books, movies, and games to explore some of the ways in which they confuse and terrify us. In 2015, Leone launched a campaign on the crowdfunding website Indiegogo to finance Terrifier, a feature-length spin-off of All Hallows Eve. The film takes place on Halloween night. Two friends, Tara and Dawn, encounter Art, who stalks and eventually attacks them after their car breaks down. Seeking refuge in a nearby building, they become targets of Art's sadistic and brutal killings. The film features intense and graphic violence as Art murders his victims in gruesome ways. Tara's sister, Victoria, becomes involved in the deadly game, leading to a night of relentless horror and gore. The film ends with Art the Clown leaving a trail of death, setting up for potential sequels. I'm giving the fear factor of this film 5 hacksaws out of 5. This film is gruesome and not for the faint of heart. Some of the scenes in this film made me squirm. The design of Art, the homicidal clown, is terrifying, and there are moments of genuine discomfort for me when he is on screen. Overall, I would recommend this film if you are a fan of gore and slasher films. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a cult classic horror comedy film that features an invasion of Earth by extraterrestrial clowns. The plot kicks off when a young couple, Mike and Debbie, witness a comet crashing near their small town. They investigate and discover a large circus tent that is actually a spaceship. Inside, they find the alien clowns and their bizarre methods of capturing humans, including wrapping them in cotton candy cocoons. The clowns use a variety of circus-themed weapons and traps to wreak havoc on the townspeople. For example, they use shadow puppets to consume a group of people. As the clowns continue their rampage, Mike and Debbie team up with Debbie's ex-boyfriend, Deputy Dave, to stop the menace. They uncover that the clowns can be killed by destroying their noses, which cause them to explode. The climax of the film takes place in the spaceship, which has relocated to an amusement park. Mike, Dave, and the Terenzi brothers, who are friends of Mike's, venture into the ship to rescue Debbie, who has been captured. They face off against the clown's leader, Jojo the Clownzilla, a gigantic marionette clown. In the end, they manage to destroy the ship and escape, though the final scene suggests the possibility of surviving clowns, hinting at a sequel. I'm giving this film 4 cotton candy cocoons out of 5. I found elements of this film to be somewhat creepy, given the clown designs and the unique use of their weapons. The garish colours combined with the dark 80s style of filming is a great contrast and sticks in your mind long after watching. I recommend watching it for its cult status as a clown horror film, as well as for its rocking music. Clown 2014, directed by John Watts and produced by Eli Roth, is a horror film that follows the story of Kent McCoy, a loving father who discovers an old clown suit in a house he is trying to sell. He decides to wear the suit for his son's birthday party after the hired clown cancels. However, the suit is cursed, and Kent finds himself unable to remove it after the party. The costume, including the wig and red nose, become fused to his body. As Kent's transformation progresses, he learns from Carlson, a man knowledgeable about the suit's origins, that the costume is made from the skin and hair of an ancient Icelandic demon called the Cloyne. This demon would lure and eat children. Carlson reveals that the only way to stop the transformation is through decapitation, as the suit takes over its wearer completely, turning them into a child-eating demon. Kent's physical changes are gruesome and painful, and he begins to lose his humanity, driven by an insatiable hunger for children. His wife, Meg, and their family are horrified by his transformation. Desperate to save him, Meg tries to help him remove the suit, but ultimately faces the grim reality of what Kent has become. The film concludes with a dramatic and tragic confrontation, as Meg must decide how to save her family from the monstrous figure that her husband has turned into. I'm giving this film 3 Icelandic demons out of 5. Clown combines elements of body horror and psychological drama, creating a chilling narrative about identity, family, and the supernatural. I think it has some interesting ideas and was bold enough to show children as victims, which is often a taboo subject when it comes to horror films. The transformation from an ordinary-looking clown to a more demonic creature was also well done. I would recommend this film to any fans of It for the supernatural aspect this film explores. Shakes the Clown, directed and written by Bobcat Goldthwait, is a black comedy film that satirizes the world of clowns and performance art. The story follows Shakes, a party clown in the fictional town of Palookaville, who struggles with alcoholism. Despite his talent, Shakes' addiction causes him to jeopardize his career and relationships. After being fired for his drunken behavior, Shakes finds himself framed for the murder of his boss, Owen Cheese, by a rival clown named Binky. Binky and his gang of clowns are involved in drug dealing and use the situation to get rid of Shakes, making it appear as if Shakes committed the crime while having blacked out. Shakes goes on the run, hiding and trying to clear his name with the help of his friends Judy, Dink and Stenchy. In a climax of dark comedy, Shake confronts Binky and his cohorts, eventually proving his innocence. The film ends with Shake saving Judy from Binky's attempt to murder her on live television. Shakes then begins attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, working towards sobriety, and ultimately becomes the new host of the TV show that Binky coveted. I'm giving this film 5 mimes out of 5. This film tackles the horror of overcoming addiction. Okay, seriously, this film isn't horror at all, and is actually a very amusing comedy with some slightly dark elements to it. I highly recommend this film as a palate cleanser for some of the more gruesome films on this list, particularly the scene with Robin Williams as the mime which got a few laughs out of me, and the fact that the film clearly has bars dedicated to different types of clowns. Stitches is a dark comedy slasher film directed by Conor McMahon. The story revolves around Richard Stitches Grindle, a jaded and unfunny clown played by Ross Noble, who meets a tragic end at a child's birthday party. During the party, a prank by the children leads to Stitches falling on a kitchen knife and dying. 6 years later, the children who were responsible for the prank are now teenagers, and Stitches is resurrected from the grave by a strange clown cult to exact his revenge. The plot follows the main character, Tommy, and his friends as they are stalked and gruesomely murdered by the vengeful clown during a house party. Stitches' murders are notably creative and darkly humorous, involving elaborate setups that turn mundane items into deadly weapons. For example, one victim has his intestines turned into a balloon animal, and another is killed using an umbrella in a particularly gory scene. As the night progresses, Tommy and his friends attempt to find a way to stop the clown. They discover that the key to defeating Stitches lies in destroying the egg that represents his soul, which is kept in his van. In the climactic battle, they manage to shatter the egg, causing Stitches to explode in a mixture of gore and magic trick supplies. The film concludes with a hint at a possible sequel, as a mysterious character begins to piece Stitches' egg back together, implying that the murderous clown might return once more. I'm giving this film 2 clown eggs out of 5. I appreciated the creative ways in which people were murdered in clown-themed ways. However, I did find the film did drag on in places. It also required a great deal of suspension of disbelief for how easy it was for each victim to be separated from the rest of the party and killed without anyone knowing. The film had a €600,000 grant from the Irish Film Board and funding from Media Europe. Filming for the movie took place in Ireland, so if you want to support the international indie film industry, I'd give it a watch. Batman, The Man Who Laughs is a graphic novel written by Ed Brubaker with art by Doug Mahnke. Published by DC Comics in 2005, it serves as a reimagining and expansion of the Joker's origin story, directly following the events of Batman Year One. The title is a homage to the 1928 silent film The Man Who Laughs, which featured a character that inspired the creation of the Joker. The story begins with Gotham City still reeling from the actions of the criminal underworld exposed in Batman Year One. Bruce Wayne, as Batman, is establishing himself as a formidable force against crime. However, a new and unprecedented threat emerges in the form of the Joker, a deranged criminal with a macabre sense of humour and a penchant for chaos. The narrative introduces the Joker as a mysterious and horrifying figure. His first act of terror involves the poisoning of several Gotham City officials, including the police commissioner, demonstrating his lethal capabilities and his flair for theatricals. Joker's plans escalate as he targets a chemical plant, threatening to release toxic chemicals into Gotham's water supply. This plan is significant as it echoes his own origin, where he fell into a vat of chemicals that disfigured him and drove him insane. Batman's detective skills and physical prowess are put to the test as he tries to thwart the Joker's schemes. The story emphasizes Batman's struggle to understand and counter the Joker's erratic and unpredictable behavior. The climax of the novel features a dramatic confrontation between Batman and the Joker. Despite Batman's efforts, the Joker's plan succeeds in spreading terror and establishing himself as Gotham's most dangerous villain. The resolution underscores the Joker's role as Batman's arch-nemesis and sets the stage for their ongoing conflict. Doug Mahnke's artwork complements Brubaker's writing by bringing a gritty and realistic tone to the story. The illustrations are detailed and expressive, capturing the dark and foreboding atmosphere of Gotham City. Mahnke's depiction of the Joker is particularly striking, highlighting his grotesque appearance and maniacal expressions. Batman, the Man Who Laughs, is a significant addition to the Batman lore, providing a compelling reimagining of the Joker's first encounter with Batman. Its combination of strong narrative, deep character exploration, and dark atmospheric artwork has made it a standout graphic novel that continues to influence interpretations of the Joker in various media. It, written by Stephen King, is one of his most celebrated and terrifying novels. Published in 1986, it combines elements of horror, coming of age, and supernatural fiction to create a complex and multi-layered narrative. The novel's exploration of fear, friendship, and the power of memory has left a lasting impact on readers and solidified its place in the pantheon of horror literature. The story of It is set in the fictional town of Derry, Maine, and unfolds over two time periods, the late 1950s and the mid-1980s. The narrative alternates between these periods, following a group of 7 children, known as the Losers Club, and their battle against a shape-shifting entity that emerges from the town sewers every 27 years to prey on children. The novel begins with the gruesome murder of a young boy named George Denborough by a creature in the form of a clown called Pennywise. George's older brother, Bill, along with his friends, Ben, Beverly, Richie, Eddie, Mike, and Stan, each encounter the entity in different terrifying guises. They realize that it exploits their deepest fears and decide to confront it together. During their summer vacation, the Losers Club discovers that it has been haunting Derry for centuries, responsible for numerous tragedies and disappearances. With the help of their combined courage and imagination, they manage to wound the creature and force it into a temporary retreat. Nearly 3 decades later, the Losers Club members have grown up and left Derry, leading successful but troubled lives. When a series of child murders begin anew, Mike Hanlon, the only member who remained in Derry, contacts his old friends, reminding them of their childhood vow to return if it resurfaced. As they reunite, the Losers Club struggles to recall their past experiences fully, their memories clouded by time and the supernatural influence of it. Despite their fears and personal demons, they come together to confront it once more in a final deadly showdown in the sewers beneath Derry. It looks deeply into the nature of fear and trauma, exploring how childhood fears can shape and haunt individuals into adulthood. The entity It symbolizes these fears, taking on forms that are uniquely terrifying to each character. Stephen King's portrayal of fear is not just about the monsters, but also about the personal and psychological, making it resonate on multiple levels. It by Stephen King is a masterful blend of horror and heartfelt storytelling that explores profound themes of fear, friendship, and the power of memory. Through the terrifying figure of Pennywise and the enduring bond of the Losers Club, King crafts a narrative that is both chilling and deeply human, ensuring its place as a landmark work in the genre of horror literature. Thomas Ligotti's The Last Feast of Harlequin is a masterful piece of horror literature that explores themes of identity, madness, and the uncanny through the lens of a disquieting festival in a small, isolated town. This novella, first published in 1990 in the magazine Grimoire, and later included in Ligotti's collection, The Nightmare Factory, showcases his ability to blend existential dread with supernatural horror. The narrative follows an unnamed anthropologist who specializes in the study of clowns and festivals. He becomes intrigued by an obscure festival in the small town of Mirecar, which features a Harlequin-themed celebration. Drawn by both professional curiosity and personal obsession, the anthropologist travels to Mirecar during the winter months, coinciding with the town's eerie and secretive festival. As he immerses himself in the festival, he discovers unsettling parallels between the townspeople and the Harlequin archetype. The atmosphere of Mirecar is pervaded by a sense of decay and an oppressive cold, mirroring the protagonist's own descent into a psychological abyss. The festival, which initially seems like a quaint local custom, reveals itself to be a grotesque and horrifying ritual. The Harlequin imagery that dominates the celebration becomes a symbol of a deeper, more sinister reality lurking beneath the surface of normalcy. Ligotti's story is marked by a profound exploration of the uncanny, particularly through the anthropologist's encounters with the townspeople, who seem to embody aspects of the Harlequin persona. The protagonist's investigation leads him to uncover a secret society that worships an ancient entity, and the festival culminates in a terrifying ritual that blurs the lines between the living and the dead, the human and the monstrous. One of the novella's most compelling features is its atmosphere. Ligotti's prose is imbued with a sense of existential dread, making the reader feel the same disorientation and fear as the protagonist. The town of Mirecar itself becomes a character, with its chilling winter setting and decaying buildings reflecting the inner turmoil and madness of those who live there. The Last Feast of Harlequin also explores themes of identity and transformation. The protagonist's fascination with clowns and his eventual participation in the festival's horrific events suggest a deeper, more personal connection to the Harlequin figure. This connection raises questions about the nature of self and the masks we wear, both literally and metaphorically. Ligotti's portrayal of the Harlequin as a figure of both comedy and horror underscores the duality of human existence and the thin veneer that separates normalcy from madness. The Last Feast of Harlequin is a quintessential example of Thomas Ligotti's work, combining atmospheric horror with deep philosophical inquiry. Through the story of the anthropologist and the sinister festival of Mirecar, Ligotti crafts a narrative that is as thought-provoking as it is terrifying, leading readers to ponder the nature of identity and the horrors that lurk just beneath the surface of reality. This novella not only reinforces Ligotti's reputation as a master of horror, but also his ability to probe the darkest corners of the human psyche. The Violator series by Alan Moore is a 3-issue limited comic series set in the world of Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Published by Image Comics in 1994, it was illustrated by Bart Sears and Greg Capullo, with inks by Mark Pennington. Known primarily in his disguise as a clown, the Violator is a powerful demon and the eldest of the 5 Fleablick brothers. His primary role is to mentor and guide Hellspawns, like the series protagonist Al Simmons, towards fulfilling the malevolent goals of their master, Malebolgia, by cultivating evil souls on Earth for Hell's army. The series kicks off with Violator, now trapped in his clown form, accepting credit for a series of mafia killings. This leads to his encounter with the mob boss, Tony Twist, who instead of rewarding him, tries to have him killed. This sets off a chain of events where Violator has to fend off both the mob's hitmen and his demonic brothers, who have been sent by their master, Malebolgia, to punish him. The brothers, Vacillator, Vindicator, Vandalizer, and Vaporizer, come to Earth with the intent of killing Violator, adding layers of conflict and action to the story. Throughout the series, Moore explores Violator's struggle with his diminished powers, as Malebolgia has stripped him of most of his abilities and trapped him in his clown form. Despite this, Violator's cunning and vicious nature come to the forefront as he battles to survive and reclaim his former status. The series also sheds light on Violator's complex relationships with his brothers and his rebellious stance against Malebolgia's control, adding depth to his character within the Spawn universe. Overall, Moore's Violator series offers a compelling look into one of Spawn's most infamous villains, combining dark humour, supernatural elements, and intense action, characteristic of Moore's intricate storytelling and rich character development. Clown Meat is an upcoming precision platformer game developed by Autumn West and Talia Bob Mayer, set to release in later 2024. The game takes players through a unique and bizarre world where a small clown made of meat embarks on a quest to cheer up a massive, monolithic clown that has landed on Earth from Jupiter. The gameplay focuses heavily on precision platforming and speedrunning, drawing comparisons to games like Super Meat Boy. Players control the meat clown, who can transform into a ball of meat to roll and bounce through levels, making it invulnerable to spikes. This transformation mechanic is central to navigating the game's challenging multi-route levels, where players aim to beat various time-based medals, bronze, silver, gold, and developer times. The narrative and world-building elements add depth to the game, featuring a post-apocalyptic setting where humanity is nearly extinct. The player encounters a variety of survivors, each with unique backstories and personalities that enrich the gameplay experience. These interactions provide both comedic and poignant moments, making the game more than just a platforming challenge. The developers have emphasized replayability and community engagement, with features designed to support speedrunning and a competitive edge, encouraging players to perfect their runs and beat high scores. The game also includes a variety of hidden details and Easter eggs that reward exploration and experimentation. Overall, Clown Meat promises to deliver a distinctive blend of challenging gameplay and engaging storytelling, set in a whimsically dark and surreal world. Death Park is a horror-themed first-person survival game developed by Euphoria Games. The game is set in an eerie, abandoned amusement park where players must navigate through dark and creepy environments while solving puzzles and evading a terrifying clown antagonist. Players explore the abandoned amusement park, which includes various locations like a circus, an abandoned house, a hospital, and more. Each area is filled with clues and puzzles that players must solve to progress through the game. The main threat is a sinister clown that hunts the player. The clown can appear unexpectedly, adding to the horror and making stealth and evasion critical to survival. Death Park features multiple endings based on your decisions, which adds replay value. Death Park has been well received for its ability to create a genuinely scary and immersive horror experience. It's not a long game, and it can be easy to get lost or not have the right items whilst having to avoid the enemy clown, so play this if you're a fan of stalker-type games. Clown in a House is a retro-styled adventure game developed and published by Crispy Animation, released on July 20th, 2021. The game features a lone clown exploring a mysterious house filled with strange inhabitants and numerous interactions. As players navigate the house, they uncover various secrets and can engage in over 1,000 unique object interactions. The game boasts more than 20 different endings, making it rich in replay value and narrative depth. The visual style of Clown of the House is reminiscent of SNES era graphics, and the game is complemented by a captivating musical score by Billy Cobb. The narrative is designed to evoke a range of emotions, encouraging players to reflect on the similarities between themselves and the clown character, touching on themes of introspection and personal discovery. Snacks and Jackson is an arcade game developed and published by Bally Sentai in 1984. In this game, players control a clown named Jackson DeBox, who has a highly elastic neck. The main objective is to use a trackball to maneuver Jackson's head around the screen to eat various food items while avoiding harmful objects like green peppers and soap bars. The gameplay involves a series of meals including breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a midnight snack, each consisting of 6 courses. Players must ensure Jackson eats all the food items by extending his neck, while also managing his bouncing nose to prevent it from breaking a window behind him. Players can also make Jackson sneeze to get rid of unwanted items. Bonus rounds include activities such as juggling and catching baseballs to earn extra points and lives. The Happy Hills Homicide is a macabre 2D stealth horror game developed by Copperbolt, inspired by 1980s slasher films. In the game, players assume the role of a sinister clown who embarks on a gruesome murder spree, creatively executing victims in each level. Players must navigate various environments, finding tools and weapons to carry out their kills. Stealth is crucial, as being spotted can thwart your plans. The game challenges you to think strategically about how to approach and eliminate the targets without getting caught. Each level requires players to break into buildings and find the right moment to strike. The gameplay emphasizes creativity and planning, with a variety of methods to kill the targets. This keeps the experience fresh and engaging throughout the game. With a playtime of about an hour, the game is designed to be a concise but intense experience. Its replayability comes from trying different strategies and discovering all the creative ways to complete the objectives. Overall, the Happy Hills Homicide is well regarded for its unique twist on the horror genre, combining stealth, puzzle solving, and classic slasher elements into a cohesive and thrilling package. Dropsy is a 2015 point-and-click adventure game developed by Tendershoot and A Jolly Corpse, and published by Devolver Digital. The game follows the titular character, Dropsy, a misunderstood clown who embarks on a journey of self-discovery after a tragic circus fire tarnishes his reputation. Unlike traditional adventure games, Dropsy is unique in its use of a dialogue-free narrative. relying on symbols and pictograms to convey its story. In the game, players guide Dropsy through a richly detailed world filled with colourful characters and various secrets. Despite his frightening appearance, Dropsy's primary goal is to spread kindness and hugs, offering an unusual blend of surreal and heartwarming experiences. As players progress, they uncover more about Dropsy's past and help him navigate a series of puzzles and interactions aimed at improving the lives of those he meets. Dropsy received favourable reviews for its innovative approach to storytelling, its emotional depth, and its charming yet eerie art style. It was praised for being a refreshing change from the often violent and competitive nature of many video games, focusing instead on themes of love, acceptance, and redemption. Wrinkles the Clown is a performance art character created by an unidentified artist in Naples, Florida. The character gained notoriety in 2015 when a video was uploaded to YouTube showing Wrinkles emerging from under a child's bed. The video quickly went viral, leading to widespread recognition and a mix of fascination and fear. Wrinkles offers a unique service. For a few $100s, parents can hire him to scare their misbehaving children. His phone number, displayed on stickers with his eerie clown face, attracted thousands of calls, ranging from parents seeking his services to prank calls and even death threats. This transformed Wrinkles into a local folklore figure in Florida and an urban legend across the United States. In 2019, a documentary titled Wrinkles the Clown was released, revealing the character as part of an elaborate art project. The documentary uncovered that the man initially believed to be Wrinkles, an elderly retiree, was actually an actor. The real Wrinkles, a performance artist, orchestrated the entire campaign, including the viral videos and the myths surrounding the character. In 2016, an unusual and unsettling phenomenon swept across various parts of the world: mysterious clown sightings. These sightings, which began in the United States, quickly spread to other countries, causing widespread alarm and media frenzy. Some of the first reported clown sightings occurred in Greenville, South Carolina, where children claimed that clowns were attempting to lure them into woods. These reports, although initially met with skepticism, sparked a wave of similar sightings across the US and eventually internationally, including the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. The clowns were often seen in secluded areas such as woods, parking lots, and schoolyards, dressed in eerie costumes and sometimes carrying weapons. The rapid spread of clown sightings was significantly fueled by media coverage and social media. Traditional news outlets picked up on the initial reports, amplifying the sense of fear and urgency. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube played a crucial role in disseminating images and videos of the clown sightings, many of which were later revealed to be hoaxes or pranks. The viral nature of these platforms allowed the phenomenon to reach a global audience almost instantaneously, creating a feedback loop that perpetuated the sightings. Sociologically, the clown's sightings can be seen as a form of mass hysteria, where the spread of fear and anxiety is propagated by collective behaviour. In times of social uncertainty or stress, such as the politically charged atmosphere of 2016, people are more susceptible to influence and panic, making them more likely to believe and propagate such stories. Retailers reported a spike in sales of clown costumes, and some cities even banned clown costumes altogether during the height of the scare. The clown sightings had several tangible consequences. Schools went into lockdown, Halloween events were cancelled, and police departments issued warnings and increased patrols. Even McDonald's mascot Ronald was sent into retirement. The phenomenon also led to numerous arrests, as individuals took advantage of the hysteria to perpetrate pranks or engage in criminal activities. The clown sightings of 2016 were more than just a bizarre trend. They were a complex interplay of psychology, sociology, and media dynamics. While the sightings themselves have largely faded, their impact remains a potent reminder of how modern society can quickly descend into panic and hysteria. They illustrate the power of fear and the role of media in shaping our collective consciousness, leaving a mark on the cultural landscape of the early 21st century. John Wayne Gacy, one of America's most infamous serial killers, was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. Gacy's life, marred by abuse and psychological turmoil, would eventually lead to a series of heinous crimes that shocked the nation and left a mark on the annals of criminal history. Gacy's childhood was marked by a tumultuous relationship with his father, who was both physically and emotionally abusive. This abusive environment fostered deep-seated insecurities and psychological issues in Gacy, which were compounded by his struggles with his sexual orientation. Despite these challenges, Gacy was known to be a sociable and charming individual, traits that would later enable him to lure his victims. Gacy's criminal activities began to surface in the 1960s with minor offences, but his most notorious crime was committed in the 1970s. After establishing a successful construction business and becoming a respected community member, Gacy began his spree of murders. He would lure young boys and men to his home, often under the guise of offering them work or socializing. Gacy's modus operandi involved tricking his victims into being handcuffed, rendering them helpless before sexually assaulting, torturing, and eventually murdering them. One of the most disturbing aspects of Gacy's character was his persona, Pogo the Clown. Gacy would dress up as Pogo and perform at various community events and children's parties. This chilling juxtaposition of his outwardly friendly clown persona with his murderous activities contributed to the public's horror upon his arrest. The clown costume became a macabre symbol of his ability to mask his true nature and deceive those around him. Gacy's downfall began in December 1978 when Robert Piest, a 15-year-old boy, went missing after being seen with Gacy. This led to a police investigation that uncovered the extent of Gacy's crimes. A search of Gacy's home revealed a hidden crawl space where the remains of 29 victims were found. In total, Gacy was convicted of murdering 33 young men and boys, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in US history. Gacy was arrested on December 21, 1978 and charged with multiple counts of murder. His trial began in February 1980, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but the jury rejected this defense. On March 13, 1980, Gacy was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to death. He spent 14 years on death row before being executed by lethal injection on May 10, 1994. John Wayne Gacy's life and crimes serve as a grim reminder of the potential for evil that can lurk behind a veneer of normalcy. His story is a testament to the importance of vigilance and the need for a deeper understanding of the psychological factors that drive individuals to commit such atrocities. Gacy's legacy, though horrifying, continues to provide valuable insights into the complexities of human behavior and the mechanisms of criminal minds. Though originally conceived to make us laugh and to entertain us, clowns are now considered to be something which terrify and creep us out. This has had a detrimental effect for those who work as professionals. Many clowns make their living doing parties, corporate events, and working in many other venues. Jobs have been cancelled because of the public fear, and this is taking people's livelihoods away. Some clowns work in children's hospitals alongside child life professionals, helping to make the hospital a more friendly environment, and it would be a shame to see this go away due to the media's portrayal of all clowns as evil. So, even if you do find clowns creepy, try to remember there's a real person behind the makeup, and for the professionals at least, they're only there to bring joy and laughter to the world.
Whoa, there we go. Come on up there. There we are. All right. Chuck, I think in the future, the underwear should go on the inside. And let's keep Mom's candy red pantyhose at home, okay? I don't want to see what religion you are. Ready? And let's start with our walls and go. Come on, Chuck. We're doing a wall now. Chuck, you're not copping a feel on a big titty lady. Let's make a wall, okay? Chuck, are we on medication or we don't know what a wall is? Let's make it a single wall, not putting your hand in shit. Come on, Chuck. Tighten the little breast up there or I'll break it. There we go. There you go, Chuck. Tighten it. There we go. Ready? There we are. Let's make our wall. Make our wall. There it is. It's all over us. Uh-oh. Look out. It might be above us, too. It might be above us, Chuck. There. What is this? What are we doing? Little Watusi? Come on, Chuck. Make the wall. All right. Enough of that.